let's take a look at adding supports. We have a variety of models that will use different types of supports as we learn how to add those. To get started, let's take a look at the bracket practice model. I've selected the model on the platform. We're going to go up to Generate Supports. That brings us to a new environment where we will be analyzing and adding supports. Right now, certain edges and faces are highlighted. And under the Analysis tab over here, we can set those faces and edges and angles to what we want them to be at to look at for support. Because the origin self-supports prints over 30 degrees, we're going to set our critical and non-critical angle to 30 degrees and leave them there. As we look at this model, we can see these tabs up here are highlighted. However, I can see they're over 30 degrees and should be self-supporting as they print. Down here we have an overhang that extends beyond our capabilities. To successfully print, we're going to need to add some supports there. What we're going to do to get started is add what's called a bar support. A bar support is just that. It can be a straight bar, you can choose to angle it, and there are a lot of different parameters we can adjust about it. To add a bar support, you click where you want it to start. You'll see kind of that little dot there. That is what's known as an anchor. An anchor marks the start and stop point of a support. However, they do not actually print. They're just there to help us locate the start and stop. Now, the tricky part about adding a bar support is you can see here, we don't always get it straight up and down. I can actually change that so it is more vertical, but however, you can see I didn't quite get it. So now I could reach underneath and try to grab that anchor and move it so that this bar support does become straight. However, you can see that can be tricky unless you have the right angle. I sure wish there was a way to add a bar support straight down. Well, there is. When adding a bar support, if you double click quickly, you can create a bar support that goes straight down. Now the bar support tool is still open, so I'm going to hit escape to exit. I have this extra support over here that I maybe don't need. I could right click and delete it. Or if I'd like, I can actually try to grab the anchor and move it to a more accurate location for what I need it to do. That would be an instance where I can add bar supports manually. If I need to adjust them, I can do so here. When I'm adjusting these, I can change the size of the anchor diameter, depending if it's difficult or in the way. If I want to hide them, I can hit Control E on the keyboard, and that will hide them. I now have a better view of my actual breaking points for the bar support and whether or not they're supporting this edge. Right now, they're a little too high up on the side. I may want to look at pushing these down towards the actual corner. You also notice they have kind of a twisted shape to them. We're going to continue looking at details that we can edit about bar supports in a later video. That is the right angle on part. I can turn that off and they're now straight up and down. If I'm happy with that, which frankly I would do some more modifications, but we'll look at how to edit the details of those bar supports later. Those don't look real great. I would add more, but that might not be the best application. We're going to hit apply to part and leave those for now. Let's take a look at the elastomer knob. Now currently the elastomer knob is located about 6 millimeters off of the platform. We're going to hit generate supports. And for this one, as we rotate to look underneath, you'll notice we now have an entire face highlighted. This is what's known as a cluster. So before we just had an edge to support, now we have an entire face, so we can right-click on that and choose to create a support on cluster. We can also choose to call action. Let's start by choosing Create Bar Support on Cluster. This is just the general bar support script that is there. If I wanted to, I can mass edit these bar supports so that they are different. And again, we'll go over editing support details at a later time. This looks decent. It might actually print okay with this. You'll notice all of these bar supports are located on the inside edge of that face. Another option we have as we right click is to choose Call Action on Cluster. You'll notice that there are a variety of scripts included here and more with the course. I can choose a script that may make sense. I would maybe select, let's see, this is an elastomer knob. I would choose elastomeric non-bouquet bar supports and choose execute. This is going to give me a preview. These look like great supports. They're in the middle of the face. They go all the way around. I also like that the pads at the bottom of the supports are all touching. That makes it easier for me to tear off later on. This is a good support. I like this. If I did not like it, I could right-click, remove all anchors and entities, call action on cluster, and try again with another script to see if that does what I need. Keep trying those out until you're familiar with each one and how they work. Now, the whole point of supporting this part was to get it off of the platform to allow it to be an unvented or a vented volume. If it was just on the platform, it would be unvented. So this looks good. I like that. We're going to apply to part. That is how you add bar supports.